Coming up next, Mineski versus TNC Pro Team.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Bucharest Major. We are here with our fifth best one of the day. We just witnessed a fantastic fourth game, Optic versus Virtus Pro. Probably our best game of the day so far, and I think a lot of people, Brax, are thinking that this is going to be the next best game. TNC versus Mineski. What are you thinking about this particular best of one? This all-SCA matchup, Brax.
It's interesting how the two big SCA teams, two big SCA teams got paired up against each other.
Yeah, it's a little too interesting, perhaps.
Yeah. Blame Slacks for
that
that
we'll blame Slacks, as we usually do. We will blame Slacks, but these two teams, they've scored off a number of times here in the past month or so in multiple qualifiers. Obviously, Mineski looks like the better team. They've had the better results overall. They've been a pretty strong team throughout the year. Ice doing a great job in the offlane for them. I think just generally considered probably the favorite here in this particular matchup, Rex.
Well, Mont, I do my ratings by DPC points.
Okay.
And last time I checked, Mineski had more points.
Okay, so we're right on the money there.
Yep.
Perfect.
Now, but TNC recently went through a roster change. We have Cuckoo playing the 5 position now, and then Armel playing mid.
Yep. Yeah, and of course they had 1437 a few months back. He's not with the team anymore. So yeah, they've done pretty well. They were able to beat Fnatic on numerous occasions in the qualifiers, and still Fnatic started getting good recently, and so now they've kind of they've hit a rough patch where they're beating teams like Execration, other SEA teams, but they're not really beating the big top tier teams. So
check it out.
Maybe Sam H can have something to say about that on his Batrider, but for now he'll be playing up against, or rather have the matchup against Ice, of course, one of the best offlaners in all of Dota 2. I think is not hard to argue for this team.
I definitely agree. He's probably one of the most interesting offlane players. He's very creative.
He is very creative. He has a wide hero pool, too.
He does.
I remember seeing his offlane Monkey King. He kind of pioneered that until it sort of faded away. I think he's really well known for his Timbersaw. I think his Ice is probably one of his biggest heroes, even though that hero's not really seeing the most play in this meta currently.
He just looks like the most annoying player to play against.
Yeah.
You know, probably pisses off all the carry players and support players.
But he's such a good guy, so
exactly. You can't be mad at him.
him.
He's just playing the game.
Exactly. So Ice is going to be a tough issue for TNC, but of course they will have to deal with it. So in terms of talking about what they've been picking, though, it's a lot of that Tim Sandking. They've played it a lot. Sam H Sandking as well, Batrider. But we'll see what they can do in particular in this game. Obviously, they don't play that much Razor or Gyrocopter from what I've seen, which is a bit of an issue in this patch, I would say. Rex.
Razor's been very hot. The first place I saw super hot was the Southeast Asian region.
Yes.
And it's banned every game.
Every game.
Literally every game.
Yeah. It just seems it's those two heroes and then the Jug we saw in the last game. I've been talking about this like all week, but it's like really important for me. Like these three core players, or core heroes, because they're just so strong right now. It seems like we saw Gyrocopter get a little bit of nerfs, so did Razor, the homing missile for Gyro, and then of course Razor had the static link. But maybe we'll see him in this game. Who knows? As we get into the draft here, Brax.
You know, they're nerfs, but they're good nerfs. They don't change the function of the hero. They just make them a little bit weaker in an area that doesn't actually, you know, mean that much, right?
Yeah.
It's a baby nerf.
But that means that they can still be picked in these first overall picks and these second overall picks, something to consider. In terms of bans, we have the Chen taken away. Finally, this hero seems pretty strong, despite the last two teams that have picked him losing their games, respectively.
Right, they did lose, but you can see the effect this hero has on the game, right? He changes the way the game's played. He makes this the off lane into the safe lane, where you can throw these heroes that, you know, can't normally go there. It makes it super safe for them. And then he plays in that fast-paced pushing style of the game. It's nice.
Yeah. So we will see him not being available. Naga's banned, which I don't think was banned or touched in the last game. We talked about this at breakfast today. The change to the linger duration for the Song of the Siren makes it so Meteor Hammer not as easy to hit with, which I think is a big change to the hero. But I think in terms of being a 4 position, Naga still seems rather strong.
Yep, still performs that same function, right? That big team fight reset. You have the Ensnare route through BKB, and of course Riptide for your strong lane phase, and then Illusions to Scout. Still does the exact same thing. Yeah,
she's also a pretty fast move speed hero in terms of getting around the map early on into the game.
Yep.
So
Naga's one of these timeless heroes that come back. She always comes back. TI rolls around, boom, Naga Siren everywhere. Rubik, same thing.
And every time I see Naga now, I always think back into I was like TI2 or TI3, I think, when everyone booed when Naga songed the good old days. people were not happy about that. I think they're a little bit more forgiving now to Song of the Siren because of what it potentially could be. But no Naga here. Instead, we will have the Mineski Sand King, which, again, a hero that a lot of teams like in SEA. And then the Witch Doctor Puck coming out for TNC.
Yep. No Tiny. Well, yet. Could come out.
Yeah, he could be picked here for Mineski. I'm assuming Ice could play him rather well if they wanted to play him in the offlane. We've only seen him in the offlane so far today, I believe.
Really interesting that TNC chose to go for Witch Doctor and Puck straight away over one of these highly contested heroes like the Tiny, like the, I was going to say Omni Knight, but he's banned, but I'm sure there's something in there that I'm forgetting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because when you think Witch Doctor, 5 position, stable hero, but best possible opener, probably not.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And then I look at Puck and I think the exact same thing. I think when you pick this hero, he's situationally good. You want him in a circumstance where he can lane well, where he can be put in the off lane or the mid lane. And when you pick him up this early, sometimes he's got some bad matchups.
So you're just concerned that they picked both of these heroes really in this game for TNC, and they could maybe pick something better.
Yeah, the Witch Doctor, he's flexible. It's fine to pick him in the first phase. You typically want to pick your supports early anyways. It's just the Puck that's a bit of a question mark.
And immediately after the Puck pickup comes the Death Prophet, who can just AoE silence, and then that makes the Puck's life a little bit harder at the very least.
Yep, and Death Prophet, pretty tanky against the Puck. We see lots of Glimmer Cape builds nowadays.
Yes.
So it's probably, when you think Death Prophet, Puck's not the best matchup into DP just because it's not that huge burst damage you have that you want to be able to kill DP with. You just want more damage.
So we have a bit of a, I think we actually have a draft pause coming out, unfortunately.
Yeah, oh, I think it just got resumed.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
so with the Sand King pairing, they've played a lot of Brewmaster and Enchantress in the offlane for Mineski when they pick it, usually, at least over the past few days, past few weeks at the very least.
Okay.
I know they like playing Brewmaster. I think it's a pretty good hero for them. But Enchantress, I'm not so sure about. I think she got nerfed. I can't remember exactly what happened to her. I think it might have been base damage. She might have gotten her base damage nerfed a couple of patches ago, I think, actually. And then the Nature's Attendance nerf came out this patch as well, patch 7.10. So something to consider for Enchantress. And also, she doesn't really like Spirit Vessel. That item kind of crushes her.
No, she doesn't like it at all. Alright, so bans coming out from TNC. We have the Broodmother being banned, and the OD as well.
The OD is actually pretty interesting that TNC banned it out. They play it a lot for Armel in the mid lane, so it's interesting that they take it out, but obviously they know how strong it could be. They don't want to give it over to Mineski, who can, I'm sure, play it.
That's even after the Death Prophet's been picked up as well.
Yeah. So they clearly just don't want to play against the Outworld Devourer, and that's fine. It's not something that actually Mineski play that much. They have recently against TNC, actually. They played it against them and won a game, but they just don't want to give it away, so that's fine. In terms of... So do you think this Puck is flexible? They pick up the Nyx Assassin now, so is this like a Nyx Assassin in the offlane or a 4 position and then Puck offlane, or what are we looking at here?
It's definitely a 4 position Nyx Assassin, and I'm going to assume Puck's going to be put in the offlane. They'll pick a different, a more physical damage-based hero for the mid lane, or at least higher damage output hero, because they need more damage to be able to kill Death Prophet. Nyx Assassin, definitely a regional hero. You know, we see some regions heavily prioritize him. Southeast Asia, China, love this hero. Hate playing against him, always banned. Everywhere else, not so much. And for good reason. This hero feels super impactful sometimes. And then sometimes he feels like he doesn't really do much.
Yeah, the Vendetta getting vision, kind of blowing up some of these squishier heroes like maybe the Disruptor or something like that. But this is that hero that we talked about again. It's just, it's on that... It's up there. It's not first pick worthy, but it's up there for a lot of these teams.
Looks good this game. Great against the Puck, great against Nyx Assassin.
Yeah, the Static Storm is going to help out. The Glimpse is going to be huge for the Puck, but the Silence more especially against him. Speaking of the Puck, it's not something... Over the past few weeks, they really haven't picked this hero, and I haven't really seen Sam H play it. His most notable hero being the Bat Rider. Of course, that is still available. I'm not sure it's a hero that they would want to play, though, in this current meta.
When I think Sam H, I definitely think Bat Rider.
Yeah. They will pick up the Gyrocopter, though. This actually gets picked
fourth pick Gyro. Yep.
So it's getting... they clearly don't value it maybe as highly as some of the other regions do, as some of the other teams in this tournament have already valued him.
It's so interesting to see the different metas across the regions, right?
It's just, it's all sort of different stuff. And we're probably going to see some interesting stuff with the last 2 picks from Mineski. I mean, what are we going to look... Are we assuming this is like a 5 Disruptor 4 Sand King, and then they're going to pick Ice as his hero pretty soon?
Okay, Lifestealer.
That's interesting.
I thought it would have been the Jug just because of the synergy with the Death Prophet.
Yes.
You can group up and push, but Lifestealer performs the same function essentially, right?
Yeah.
He's that magic immune carry. You can jump into the Sand King,
Yeah.
blow up anyone. Looks good.
So, but the question remains, though, that this is a 4-position Sand King, and then they're going to pick Isis Hero last?
I would assume so, but it could be the other way around, where it is an offlane Sand King, but I see no real reason to. You usually do that so you can pressure the offlane, or, you know, pick a different 4 hero, but none of the other 4 heroes sort of look amazing.
Right.
They all look like they'll perform the same exact function as Sand King, none better than the other. So.
And for TNC, they're looking for more than likely their mid laner.
I would assume so, yeah. It makes sense because they have the last overall pick as well. Now they can decide, do we want Puck in the mid lane, do we want Puck in the off lane? Puck in the off lane against Lifestealer, not bad at all.
Yeah.
Lifestealer still farms, Puck can farm, won't die to Lifestealer.
Who would you want against the Death Prophet? We saw the interesting matchup with Complexity earlier today with the Nature's Prophet. I don't think that'll get picked up. But
No, probably not.
what else is good against this DP?
When I think Armel, I think Queen of Pain, Shadow Fiend, and OD.
Well, Odie's been taken out, but yes. Shadow Fiend, I think saw this matchup earlier. Death Prophet versus Shadow Fiend could do pretty well. Should be fine, I think, for the most part. But they're taking their time for Mineski for their last ban coming in. They need to think about what they want to grab in the offlane for themselves.
Okay.
They will be the next pick. They'll ban out the DK. Another one of those heroes we saw in the last game. Just good with the Gyrocopter balling up and taking fights early on.
Yep, definitely complements their playstyle of what their heroes want to accomplish in the early game. Let's see, Mineski are looking for an offlane hero, most likely, unless they want to play Sand King there, but I'd be very surprised if they did.
Could they get away with a Brewmaster potentially? Might not be the best against a Puck, I would suppose. You can get silenced up, and then the Gyrocopter can burst you down. But it's a hero that they have lit a lot recently.
It is possible, but I feel like they wouldn't want to go for a hero like that, because then they need to help him a lot to get to Blink Dagger for him to be too useful.
Yes.
And they already have really good initiation with the Sand King and the Disruptor Glimpse Catch.
Omni's not available. That was banned out. They did pick an Enigma once. I don't think that's going to come out, but it'd be interesting if they did. Underlord is also available. That's like the common... It's a pretty common offlaner in this day and age.
That doesn't sound too bad.
Underlord's been picked a lot recently.
It's pretty annoying against Nyx Assassin because he can walk in the Firestorm and just get the Carapace off for free.
Yeah, true.
But it does pressure the lane a lot, which Doctor doesn't do that much against Underlord in lane. Underlord can survive that.
It would be against the Gyrocopter, but it'll be the Magnus instead. Okay. So they have the Empower to work with the Lifestealer, another Blink Carrier to hop inside for the Lifestealer in terms of an Infest gank if they wanted to go for something like that. But this is not a hero you see very often nowadays, Brax.
No, but it's nice because you have 2 other initiators, right? So that means Magnus can just sit back and wait with the RP. He doesn't have to be the one to jump first. It actually doesn't even matter. All he has to do is sit back and wait for the perfect opportunity. And if TNC overstep, boom, they set themselves up for an RP. Looks good. It's
sort of like the Ravages we saw last game from that Tidehunter. You don't want to be the one to initiate in the fight, but because you have so much initiation on your team, you can just wait it out.
He's strictly on counter initiation duty.
Yeah, and speaking of the Tidehunter, there he is. So it is going to be the potentially Puck mid for Armel, and it is.
It is?
This is more of a Sam H hero than I would say Puck is, in terms of just kind of winning, trying to at least do pretty well in the lane.
Yeah. So the reason why I don't like Puck against Death Prophet that much is because Puck doesn't have a whole lot of damage for when ganks come in. Right? With the level 6, it's good. But before then, you know, levels 3 and 4, you don't really have any kill pressure over the Death Prophet because she's going to be able to Spirit Siphon 2 targets to keep healing up. And then it's really easy to turn that sort of a gank, especially with a hero like Sand King, when you can just run with the boots. The Magnus is a bit greedy. It's extremely greedy.
Yeah.
It does not pressure the lane whatsoever, but Ice will find a way to make his shenanigans work in the offlane.
Yeah,
pull
that's
the creeps.
thing.
He'll hide. He'll do something.
Yeah. They'll have the Infest Bombs coming out a little bit later as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a pretty good draft. Again, the Magnus is definitely interesting, but like you said, it's Ice. He could make it work, I would imagine, out of anybody. Him playing the Magnus is actually very exciting to see what he's able to do in this game in terms of the RPs that he's able to throw out.
Yeah, I mean, late game, it looks fantastic, right? You have the Magic Minion carry in the Lifestealer, and then you have the RP, the BKB Piercing Disable, up against the Gyrocopter, who naturally wants to build that BKB.
Yes.
Especially against Sand King and Disruptor. There's no getting around it. You have to build it.
Yeah.
But then there's always going to be that late game threat.
We'll see which 2 of these teams can get off to a fast start, but I'm assuming you're going to pick Mineski here in terms of favorites in this game.
I don't know, Mott. Why don't you pick first?
I think I'm going to pick Mineski.
Good for you.
Okay. We're going to just hop into the game in just a second, guys. But, yeah, I'm excited for this one. I think that this is – it's cool to see Magnus picked up every so often and just to see those big plays.
He's a fun hero to watch, isn't he?
He is. He's like – we were talking about fun heroes earlier today, and he's like Enigma's one of those heroes.
Enigma, Earthshaker.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I think.
Yeah, I think those – in terms of what you can get done with those heroes, the types of plays you can have happen, definitely those heroes. But we will see how things start off for Ice 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 on this Magnus, where he will get sent in terms of his laning phase and what they can do for him in terms of helping him out. But for now, we'll start the game off by having Mineski run down together and try to get some vision at the enemy jungle, whereas already TNC have dropped a ward down in the mid lane. So they're kind of spread out, not really ready for any sort of aggression.
Sam H and Raven have the same picture there.
Nice.
Cloned.
Yeah.
So the reason I like the Mineski draft a bit more is just because the Lifestealer. He is a hero that the lineup from TNC will have extreme difficulties pressuring. There's no BKB disabling stun. The instant stun is the Impale coming out from Nyx when he Vendettas. You can just stun instead of attacking first before stunning, instead of ganks and Lifestealer, but it's not the easiest thing in the world to do.
Yeah, I think Mushi should have a relatively good time this game.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got many vehicles to work with as well in terms of getting these Infest Bomb ganks off. And they can always fall back onto this Death Prophet in terms of the late game. Exorcism is so difficult to deal with. They will smoke up, and they're going to run uphill and maybe find Sam H. It's not the easiest target. Sam H should probably back away. He might get burrow struck by jabs. He doesn't want to use it, not yet. But this will be Mineski grabbing 2 runes, potentially a 3rd, and it will be 3 bounty runes, with that smoke actually kind of being a success despite not killing anybody with it.
With the change to boots, jabs actually doesn't even start with boots. Windlace.
Wow.
Boots are so expensive.
Yeah, they're a little bit too much for the Sand King, who wants to have at least a little regen to work with. He also has an extra clarity, too, so... But he should be fine. He has decent moves, too, even with the Windlace. And, all right, some wards. This ward, I think, was placed down in the mid lane, the one that the Dire have in the mid lane. I think that was placed during the smoke, so they shouldn't have seen it.
Yep.
Otherwise, it would have gotten de-warded by now. But some nice vision for Mineski on the opposite side of the river.
Let's talk about how these lanes are going to shape up. We have Nyx Assassin casually mana burning, Death Prophet in the mid lane. This is probably most mid laners' least favorite thing in the entire game.
Yeah.
When they just sit there with this annoying bug. You can't hit him. You can, but it's pointless since he has a ton of HP regen anyways. You just have no mana to work with.
Yeah, it's already 2 different mana burns getting hit up, and it's not going to be a fun time for the Death Prophet. Has no mana regen whatsoever at this point. Still has enough for Cryptswarm or Spirit Siphon, but for now, it's just not going to be very fun for Moon in the mid lane. But this will free up the other lanes that there's no Nyx Assassin in now. They should be able to do fine.
No orb.
Jabs comes in with a Burrow Strike onto Armel, but he's probably fine. It doesn't look like Moon was in position to go for a kill there, sadly.
Yeah, just some damage. Nothing else can really be done there. And look at that. Moon has no more mana.
Okay, well, he's pretty sad.
So the Tidehunter matchup versus Lifestealer. When Tide gets some levels, he actually does totally fine in this matchup. Anchor Smash reduces a ton of damage. As long as Tidehunter's not sitting at full HP, he doesn't actually take that much damage from Lifestealer right clicks. Yeah, it's just early on before you have the levels in Kraken Shell where it's pretty bad.
And you can see it now. He might just die here. He's actually going to buy himself. He knows he's in trouble. He's got stick charges. He's got 3 of them, but he won't be able to use them in time. And Ninja Boogie will be able to get first blood. And that's what you were talking about. When you don't have levels, you can kind of get chewed up by the Lifestealer and the Thunderstrike of the Disruptor.
Yep, if he can manage to secure like level 3, then he's totally fine in the lane. But until then, it's a bit dangerous.
Yeah, and of course, the Nyx can't come help. He's sitting mid, just spamming mana burn. In the meantime, what is the Magnus able to do? Magnus is level 2, but he's out of mana. He must have been spamming Shockwave numerous times. He's up to 2 lasted, so not that much, but it's not like the Tide's doing much better, so...
I mean, he's got plans for the future, Mod. Look at Ice 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 just running around, trying to make something happen. He's going to skewer mid lane.
Yeah, this is insane. This is a big rotation. Armel has used his phase shift. The Illusory Orb will come out, but he's able to get away in time, and so that long rotation from Ice 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 does pretty much nothing.
Insane indeed. Baited out the mana burn.
There's that, at least.
Yep.
Now he's got no mana, and he's going to walk all the way back down bottom. But I guess it's fine. The wave was pretty pushed in anyways, so
yep.
Not the end of the world.
You know, eventually he'll get something, right?
I mean, both of these offlaners are going to struggle for a while.
Exactly. They're both in that same position where they're just trying to get whatever they can, but it's very dangerous for them to move out too far.
I really think the Nyx coming mid for TNC has done a lot of work, though, because Nana is sitting at only 6 last hits. In the meantime, Mag's going to try to steal a creep wave, but I don't know. He's still getting not much. But again, this Nyx Assassin mana burn has given Armel such an advantage in the mid lane. 15 last hits and 7 denies versus 7 and 6 for the Death Prophet.
Yep, Jabs even comes mint to give him the salve.
What a guy.
Yeah, nice guy.
Still, though, I mean, it's definitely struggle city for Moon at this point in the game. But they do have really good farm for Mushi on the Lifestealer. But that's about it. Meanwhile, you have 2 lanes going really well for TNC. Of course, we already talked about the puck, and then the Gyrocopter's getting free farm. He has nobody that he's really not laning against the Magnus.
Right.
He hasn't been in lane for the past few minutes or so.
It's just Magnus pulling whatever creeps he can.
There is no better feeling, I feel like, than a safe laner getting unequivocal free farm. You just feel so good about your life at that point. In the meantime, wow, Cuckoo's going to steal the bounty rune, and I believe the Gyrocopter will get the other one. So Ice is not very happy right now. He has to actually skewer away to keep himself alive.
Yep, this is what we were talking about with the Magnus being a greedy pick. He doesn't actually do anything early on.
And it's not like you could fall back on the jungle like you could previously with Iron Talon. You know, that's not available anymore. Even with a Quelling Blade, it's still not that great for the Magnus in this game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, at least the Tide's not doing anything either for TNC, so that's the good news for Ice in that regard. But
the game is very similar, right? Both teams have their safe lane completely secured. It's just on the mid lane, TNC are winning by quite a bit.
Yes. And we'll see if they can't find a couple of kills with this puck once he gets level 6. If he wants to start rotating around, he has the double null tally. He's now working on his bottle. He is dishing out the damage. 81 plus 2 damage for this puck against Moon.
How much is that?
It's pretty significant.
It's a lot.
Yeah, you'll see it here when he hits him. It's actually chunking him fairly decently. And of course, Moon has no mana to work with either, so he can only really get one Spirit Siphon off if he wants to at this point. This is a rough lane for him, and Armel is having a great time.
Yep. So, game's pretty slow, lanes are pretty static. Let's talk about some timings. Puck, when he hits that 6, DP is going to be in quite a bit of trouble because she's already low to begin with, right? It's going to be super easy for someone else to rotate in. Magnus isn't going to be making any moves at all for a really long time. It honestly might be up to the Lifestealer to move around with Sanking, right? We need some levels up on these supports. He can free up the lanes, give Disrupt to the lane.
And you usually don't want to move on the Lifestealer until you have at the very least Infest and an Armlet to work with. That's the timing that you'll usually see. Armlet comes down on the Lifestealer, you get inside some hero when they have Blink, and you start making things happen. But he might be forced to rotate earlier depending on something happening. Sam H is going to be found by Jabs and Ninja Boogie that will get off the Burrow Strike in the Kinetic Field. The Thunder Strike, the Glimpse back. Another Burrow should be up in a few seconds, but I don't think they're going to want to go for this as Cuckoo rotates in, so they will back them up. They'll pop the Shrine. They will get off the Maledict, but Cuckoo is going to get Burrow struck himself now as well. They don't have enough mana for a Thunder Strike. He does have stick charges, but Cuckoo still might be getting close. He actually might die here with one more auto attack, and it looks like he will.
Yep,
one last tick of the Thunder Strike. And, of course, the Caustic Finale to help out as well. So, nice little pick off there between the two supports. Now down bottom, the call down hitting up onto Ice with the homing missile and the Rocket Barrage. That's a tier 2 dive, and there's nobody that can rotate in to stop that from happening.
Yep, nicely done. These safe lanes are looking mighty safe for both teams.
And they all TPs, but not much they can do. This is a bit of a rough start.
This is like the off lane from many years ago, from like the TI2, TI3 era, where all the off laners struggled to get any sort of experience at all, and you had to get extremely creative, pulling creep waves.
Sam H is level 3, Mushi is level 7, and Sam H is not having a great time. Anchor Smash will go out. I don't think Mushi really cares. Jabs rotates him with a Burrow Strike. Sam H is just dead. The Infest will get the kill, and that's going to propel Mushi to his Armlet, which he's super close to at this point with now 50 CS at 7 minutes into the game.
Come on, it's 7 minutes in, and that Siege Wagon spawns at 5. It's still alive.
It's still alive. So some tier 1 tower pressure. In fact, the tier 1's just dead, and Mushi gets the last hit. That is a disastrous offlane, really for both offlaners, but Ice at least hasn't really died as much. Well, I say that, but Impale, Rocket Barrage, and okay, well they're both dying a lot. Let's be honest. Cass will come out. Jab's gonna get hit by that. They're gonna try to keep him alive with the Burrow Strike onto 3, but the Rocket Barrage comes in from Raven, who is able to secure another kill. This time Cuckoo will get the last hit, but this offlane is the worst offlane I've seen for both offlaners in like a game for a long time. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's extremely difficult for either of them to do anything. And they're both on heroes that require a pretty decent amount of farm, right? They're going to sit back probably for the next 5 to 10 minutes just trying to catch up. I mean, they're level 3 at 8 minutes. It's actually A flashback to the past.
It's a disaster, really, for both of these offlaners.
Yeah, but, you know, they've got time.
There will be a smoke for the Radiant trying to make something happen here with the Puck level 6, now level 7. He actually has an Arcane Rune to work with as well. They're going to walk in and try to find Moon, who does have level 2 Spirit Siphon, but I don't know if that's going to keep him alive. The Dream Coil will come out, the Maledict. There's the Silence, the Illusory Orb. He'll Crypt Swarm and try to take down Cuckoo with him, but it's not going to happen. Tims will get the last auto attack to secure that kill. That's exactly the timing you were talking about. That level 6 comes out for the Puck. They make a smoke happen, they get a kill.
Yep, and you look at the TP potential from Mineski as well. It's really not there, right? Disruptor's level 4, Sand King. There's no way he can stop that gank from happening. It's just something they just have to live with for now and try to weather the storm. But Coil's up again in 18 seconds thanks to that Arcane Rune.
And they can go again if they would like. Meanwhile, Ninja Boogie's going to get dope under the Tier 1 tower on the top lane. Sam H finally getting involved as the Gyrocopter rotates top. And now I think he is up to level 5, so he's pretty happy. And they're going to maybe put some pressure on this Tier 1 tower in the top lane, as bottom lane, Mushi is doing the same thing now with the Empower to help with as well.
I'd like to change my prediction, Mott.
Okay.
Just kidding. It's still early. But yeah, this is exactly what TNC need to do, right? When your offlaner is struggling, you rotate to him, give him some space, let him take back over the lane so he can actually do something.
Yeah. He's going to rotate bottom now and have a bit more of a better time. Get this big wave to work with and get up to level 6 here in a few moments. Meanwhile, Ice is level 4 in the same lane trying to get his own CS, so I guess they're going to just sit together for now.
God, the mana burn mid makes such a big difference against these intelligence heroes.
Burrow Strike, they have found Sam H. They've popped the Exorcism, and Mineski are going to maybe find this kill. He's going to wand up. That might keep him alive. The Spirit Siphon, the Exorcism, one more tick will do the job, and it will. So Mineski will find that kill. So now they get involved with Ice, and they find a kill for him, and it's the opposing offlaner. But in the meantime, TNC are taking the Tier 1 tower in the mid lane. Something to consider.
This game turned into a bloodbath quite quickly.
5-4, 9 kills across the board. And this is before we've seen really any big infest gank come out yet from Mineski. In the meantime, they're going to try to make something happen in the bottom lane. Burrow Strike to make sure that they can get the DP away alive, but she's in trouble. The cast will come out. They've got the Impale, they've got the Call Down, they've got the Rocket Barrage, and that's all they need, as Raven will get himself a dominating spree for TNC.
You know, Lifesteal's been a bit quiet ever since he took that tower up top, but he's still at the top of the net worth charts, farming very well. That is a big thing to talk about, right? The Lifestealer versus the Gyrocopter matchup. Gyrocopter does a ton of match damage in the early parts of the game. Lifestealer, of course, has the Rage to dodge all that damage. Natural counter. And he's farming very well.
Yeah, but as the game progresses, it's not like Lifestealer farms the fastest.
That's true.
And it's not like people are going for this Battle Fury build anymore on Lifestealer.
It is a dire Gyrocopter as well, so we can farm that nice triangle of jungle camps on the right side by the shrine. That's the spot that carry players dream about.
Static Storm, but actually he gets out. He Vendetta'd away. They have dropped the Sentry. The Open Wounds is there, but he's about to be out of range of the Sentry, and he still has plenty of his Vendetta ready to go.
Very nice.
So Static Storm now wasted. They drop a Sentry for it. They don't get a kill with it. So really good play from Tims just to get out of that situation with the Vendetta.
Yep, scouts out the Lifesteal rotation too.
That's
knows exactly what was going to happen.
So at this point, there is a very slight lead for TNC, a lot of which is coming in from that Puck, the RML Puck, who now has a Veil like we talked about. So if they want to make something happen, they can. They have another Dream Coil ready. I think they're probably going to want to smoke again, I would assume. They have one on the Witch Doctor, so yeah.
Look at this, the efficiency.
Oh my god. Everybody has so many stacks, I feel like. TNC especially, my god.
We're back to stack Dota.
I feel every time,
you know?
like every big, it's always like full circle when it comes to Dota.
It is.
You
just go through the cycle of the different versions and you come back to the previous one eventually.
Exactly.
When are we hitting Troll Sniper?
I don't want to know. This DP is also in trouble and she's dead. That is going to be Raven getting a mega kill spree. That's just an easy pick with the Dream Coil and the Veil, which they just blow her up. The Spirit Siphon's not going to help you.
Yep, and they're stealing the stacks as well too, so tough luck.
TNC have come out swinging in this game, my friend.
They have indeed. But the late game from Mineski is still extremely difficult to deal with.
I forget that there's a Magnus in this game who has Empower.
Right.
I talked about the farming speed of the Lifestealer, and then I remember there's an Empower on the seat. He is only level 1 Empower, and he's going to die again, more than likely, but you do have the Magnus to fall back on later on into the game, if he can at least get some farm of his own. Which is not looking great, to be honest, for Ice Ice Ice.
It's a journey, not a race. He'll get there eventually.
That's true. We are only 13 minutes into this game, and we haven't had too many Tier 1 towers taken down. A couple of them, the safe lane taken, but Moon will pop his Exorcism for the mid lane tower, and Mushi is in there. Tim's is going to try to go for the race GP. They should have the glimpse. They do. This should be a kill with a Static Storm, and the AoE silence coming in from the Death Prophet. They're thinking about diving. Now they want to find Mushi. They have no rage on him. He's in trouble. Dreamcoil comes out. He's gotten Fest, but there's nobody to get inside. He's going to try to get through, but he does deny. Oh my god, that deny actually got off in time. The neutral creep will bring him down. That was pretty sick, actually.
When stacks attack.
That's pretty big. Losing Mushi there to TNC would have been a big deal, but instead he gets denied. But in the meantime, though, TNC just take the ancient stack for the gyrocopter.
Yeah, for sure. Still bad that he did happen to go down there on the lifestealer. See, he feels like he needs to be able to make rotations to free up the rest of the map, right? For his team to keep on farming, they need some sort of pressure, so he's running around even without the infest, right? Jabs is taking time on his Sand King to get to a Blink Dagger so he can be relevant in the later stages of the game. And
that's where things get good for Mineski, having that Blink Dagger on Jabs. Again, you don't want to rely on the Magnus to get these initiations off, so having that Blink Sand King is going to be very important. And in fact, they're going to infest up, but Tim's was there with the Nyx Assassin Vendetta, and now they're ready to fight. Good double Burrow Strike. They're going to try to infest, burst down this Witch Doctor. He uses his stick charges, but he will finally fall. Japs is getting low. The call down. The Flat Cannon from Ravenboom will do the job, and now Armel is going to chase Mushi, but the Glimpse will come in. And that'll be onto Armel. That will send him back and stop any further fighting from happening. So they do take down the Witch Doctor, but that was a good response from TNC to bring down Jabs on the Sand King.
Yeah, I think Armel's coil just came up, or I'm sure he would have used it on the lifesteal there. It was on cooldown for like 3 seconds or something. Oh, Ice closing in the blink.
Actually super close to his Blink Dagger. And I guess it shouldn't be that surprising considering who he is, but he's been taking some stacks, I think, in the enemy jungle, trying to find some farm, and now he has more than enough for this Blink Dagger. And now here's the deny. They even Dream Coiled him. They had the homing missile on him. I think the Maledict, did it miss? It was close. I think it hit him.
Oh, it's on him.
So
he's nice and purple.
But that's the problem with these giant ancient stacks. You get denied. Still, it's not a big deal. They were still able to take the stacks and get a couple of kills afterwards.
Still, it would have been a big bounty for sure. But you're right. Him going down is just equally as important. Just getting him off the map.
We will find Moon getting jumped on by the Blink Puck. The Dream Coil comes in. Good usage of that Static Storm. It might keep him alive for now, but not enough. The Death Ward comes in. Even the Glimpse came out onto the Puck, but now they've found the Impale. They might get 2 out of this as well. Raven pops the Rocket Barrage yet again, and the Gyrocopter just runs at you, and he's got a wicked 6 spree now on this Gyrocopter with an SNY just about to be completed.
7-0-2 already.
Raven is huge. But he's not too far ahead of the Lifestealer, only 300 gold, actually.
Yeah, these kills not meaning that much in the net department, actually.
That's pretty interesting. What level is the Empower now, too? It is level 3 for the Magnus, and this is where Mushi can start getting out of control, because he could start farming extraordinarily well with this Magnus, but instead he will go top with Jabs, who has infested inside of him. And he is spotted, but I don't think they know where Mushi is at this point, so TNC will back themselves up.
Mushi's looking for Battlemon.
Yeah, he sure is. Samich has a mech, by the way, which that item has kind of fallen out of favor too. It just seems like it's not as good as it once was.
Yeah, we always see the hood or the pipe come out first, usually.
Yeah. Not so much this game.
Makes sense, though. When you look at the Mineski draft, Lifestealer, a hero that pretty much only operates inside of Rage, right? You need to be able to burst that target and then reset and get out. If you're able to tank through the Rage and reset, then he gets kited. So just items to help beef up, get nice and tanky.
Yeah, just deal with the burst, essentially.
Yep. If you can survive the burst, you're good to go.
So SNY is done on, I think, both of the carries. No immediate BKB for the Gyrocopter this game, which is something we've seen a lot of the last 2 or 3 games where they would go phase, Kilo, Drum, BKB, the early BKB. He's going to go for it next, though. I guess he's not too concerned about dying at this point of the game. He feels he can get away with getting the extra damage and SNY.
It's definitely good this game. He's so far ahead that he doesn't really have to worry about dying in these fights. The extra health and move speed, just the stats in general, are very good. Because Mineski, they're not looking to fight, right? Death Prophet still needs time to catch back up in the game. Same thing with Magnus. Right now, this game is all TNC running around the map looking to make things happen, but all right, here we go. Smoke up.
This is going to be a big smoke. They need to find something with this. They have the Blink Dagger on both Sand King and the Magnus. Ice 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 trying to get to a Midas next. They have a big smoke. There was a Dire scan, but it doesn't connect. The Radiant scan in the Roche pit, but they don't know that they're all smoked up and ready to go with this fight. And we'll see what happens. Armel will blink away. He almost spotted this. Good positioning from Sam H, which might break the smoke. No, they're going to go all the way around. They're about to run into the entire team. Great burrow. It's on to the Infesto. Good neck in time. The RP coming in, but it's on to Sam H who gets a Ravage. It's on to 3. Look at the damage being built. The Ravage follow-up from Tibbs. It's a double kill for Armel. What a turnaround. Mineski, great initiation. Now the Epicenter getting channeled for jabs. I'm not sure how much this is going to do, though. A lot of damage, but really they're so tanky on Raven, even on Armel, that jabs might just die here. They've got the Impale. It's 4 dead. Mushi is able to TP away, but Sam H with a counter initiation. He got RP'd, and then the Kraken shell came out. The Tims follow up with that Impale.
Oh, God. Mineski almost made it work. Moon got the silence off on the Tidehunter, but then RP comes out, hits the Tide. Tide takes just random AoE damage. Kraken shell comes out, and then ravages the entire team.
He literally only ravaged Sam H, and Sam H was like, okay, I'm going to hit my R button now.
Yep.
And that was the fight in a nutshell. Luckily, at the very least, for Mineski, they didn't lose Mushi, but they lost a lot more in terms of all of their other heroes going down and giving so much gold to this Gyrocopter, who is becoming a monster.
That was their smoke, them using all these resources to come find that fight, and they just flat out lose it.
And they had a good initiation. They had a 2-man burrow strike. I mean, that should have been turned into more by Ice Ice Ice, I think. It just kind of missed out on the RP. It was tough. But good positioning from Sam H, though, at the very least.
Yeah, very good positioning from TNC. They knew it was coming.
Yes.
They just sat there and waited for it, and it's easy as that.
Dreamquall does miss onto the Disruptor, but I don't know if that's going to keep him alive. They have the Death Ward, they have the Waning Rift and Illusory Orb, and he's just done. And now TNC starting to take control of the map as we check out the replay. And we're going to see here, they double burrow strike onto 2. Sam H walks up.
On the Tide.
They all backed up. Ice 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 was half a second away from getting a 3-man RP. Instead, it turns into 1. And that's really where the issue arose, I think. It's just, and then Traps tries this Epicenter. It doesn't really do anything.
The problem is, even if he manages to get the RP off on those 3 heroes, it still catches the Tide. Or Tide's going to take random AoE damage, like the Crypt Swarm came out, right?
Yeah.
Ravage comes out no matter what. Doesn't matter if you get those heroes or not.
So it's just smart for him to be in that position, ready for the RP.
Yep. Just sitting there waiting to tank up some random Crypt Swarm damage so we can get the Ravage off no matter what happens.
Yeah.
Just
really, that was a great play. And the mech, too, also was well-timed for Sam H as well. And they're going to try to put some pressure onto this top lane. Ravage is still down for another 7 seconds, but it's close, which means they can start getting aggressive if they want. Everybody is up top. The wave is pushing in the bottom tier 2 tower, something to consider, but it should be fine one way or the other. And maybe we'll see TNC back up, and it looks like they will, just to try to get some extra farm in the bottom lane for Raven, who, again, he's got his BKB now. So Raven is huge, Bryce.
Gigantic, yep. And they managed to bring everyone from Mineski up there, too. So now TNC can just play the farm game, the efficiency game. Time to clear out some of these stacks. Well, just kidding. They've been cleared out already.
Yeah, Raven's taken them already.
Yep.
That's not surprising, actually.
Well, you know, it makes sense, right? You see a buff to stacks, boom. What do you think? Gyrocopter.
Gyro.
He's the stack man.
The stack man, indeed. Raven has had a heck of a game. 587 GPM currently. And, again, I don't think he's died once. Yeah, he's still 8-0-5 at this point. So, if they can kill this Gyrocopter, and it's going to be tough now because he's got a BKB, but if they can kill him, that's a lot of gold waiting in the way for Mineski. But it's a 7K lead for TNC now after that last fight.
Yep. Raven's going for a Scotty as well against the Lifestealer, so you can help kite him in the reach. Helps a lot with dealing with him.
So then how do you bring him down if you can't get him with the burst of the Lifestealer anymore? Because again, you have Sam H now with Guardian Greaves, I believe, as well. You have a couple of 4-staffs to kite the Lifestealer. I mean, how do you kill this Gyrocopter with BKB?
The burst all comes through items, right? They need more damage items up on the Lifestealer, more levels up on Death Prophet for higher levels in Exorcism so they can actually kill these targets. But they also have the Disruptor combo, right? What happens if we get that same RP with the Static Storm and the Kinetic Field on top, so then Tide can't get the Ravage off? That's one way to take a team fight, but it requires such a high level of execution that as long as TNC have thought about it and they're spread out in the fights, it's probably not going to happen.
And it won't matter, especially if they can get Aegis on this Gyrocopter. That's another thing that you have to consider as well. And Roche hasn't been taken yet, but they certainly could do it. Gyro does a lot of damage. But it comes down to, do they want to get a pick first? Do they want to keep the waves pushed out first? Do they want to smoke first before they try to go after Roche? It's hard to do Roche into a Burrow Strike into an RP, an Exorcism.
Disruptor as well.
Yeah.
Some fantastic heroes in the Roshan pit.
So for now, they're just going to be content with pushing as we get a bit of a pause here. So we'll see what's up. But for now, I mean, it is all TNC. They have a 6K lead. They're looking pretty good. They've made a lot of plays in this game. I mean, a lot.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
You know, high ground is still quite the beast, right? Pushing into Magnus, pushing into Sand King, Disruptor. These heroes can always get the initiation off first. It's not easy.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see when that happens. We still have a ways to go in this game, though. I mean, it could flip on its head if Mineski just get that one big initiation, if they can stop this gyro. Oh, that's not good. We're having some Dota issues here. Let me tell you, folks.
Oh no.
We need Valve to help us out. So, it's been a good game. It's been a pretty good game so far, though. I gotta say.
It has, hasn't it?
Yeah. Again, we've talked a lot about TNC, but there's always that potential for the big team fights to happen and go Mineski's way. So.
Yep. So you have Gyrocopter and Puck cores against a Lifestealer. Not the greatest. Tons of magic damage between these heroes, but they are good at kiting him.
Yes.
Especially when Gyro gets like a Scotty, Butterfly. That's going to become super difficult to actually burst this hero down. But until they actually reach that stage, it's pretty difficult.
Yeah, well, they already have a 4-staff on Tim's, but... Yeah, I mean, Mushi's going to... And again, he will continue to stay with his Gyrocopter because of the Empower.
Exactly.
And that's going to help them out a lot. He's actually also picked up a Maelstrom just to, I guess, even farm even faster. I suppose that it helps in fights, too. The Maelstrom proccing can do some serious damage, but... Yeah, I think we're having some trouble with the internet, so stay with us, guys. We'll have this fixed up and ready to go in just a moment, but it might be a bit, so we'll chill with you here. And
looking like Sayori podcast.
yeah,
time.
Sayori podcast time, exactly. Okay, so we'll see what we can get going here, but I mean, it's a 6K lead. They have the heroes to
it's sizable
to win this game for sure.
Both teams just have so much team fight, right? That all it takes is one misstep, one good initiation from one side, and they can win fights.
Yes, exactly.
Magnus, Tidehunter, Disruptor, Sand King, all amazing team fight heroes.
Yeah. So it just comes down to that one big team fight for Mineski if they can get it, and we'll see. This Gyrocopter hero, he seems pretty good, man. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
He is being picked a lot and for good reason.
They've tuned up his machine, and he's looking real nice.
Yeah, he's not the old man that he once was.
Uh-huh.
So with that said, guys, we have some internet issues. We will get them sorted out, and we will get back into the game as soon as possible. We will be right back. Stick around.
Ready. Steady. Game on.
All right, folks, welcome back into TNC versus Mineski here at the Bucharest Major. We have another disconnect. No, we were ready to go. We were so close.
Why are they disconnecting?
Well, there's some issues currently, Brax.
They can just stay connected.
Yeah, if they could just do that, then that would be fine. We could get back to the game. Sadly, that's not happening. I do want to talk about, though, you and I were talking about this during the break. It feels like the main damage source that's going to help Mineski win this game is going to be the Exorcism, and that DP is not there yet at this point in the game.
Nope.
I mean, like, Mushi is mega farmed, as we talked about, but he can't do it alone.
There's so many tools to deal with the Lifestealer and the Kaitem, right? We're talking about the Force Staffs. Then you have the Guardian Greaves out from Tidehunter to help with that as well. Puck, extremely difficult to lock down.
And the point that you made that I really liked was the fact that he's been using his Rage to deal with, like, the Nyx Assassin by Carapace or other spells on TNC. And then, you know, at that point, his Rage is dead or gone, and TNC just kill him half the time, or at least push him back in the fights.
The targets he can actually kill are not these core heroes. He can kill Nyx Assassin, and he can kill Witch Doctor.
Maybe not even, because they have a 4-step on Tim's, and they have a Guardian Greaves set onto the Tidehunter.
Exactly.
TNC have positioned themselves in such a way that they'll be able to do pretty well. They're going to rotate back. They've got the cast. Oh, he gets the Rage off in time, the TP, but the Death Ward is doing a lot of damage. He will still be able to make it out in time. A lot of damage being done on Mushi, but he will survive. That was just two support heroes and a Tide hitting him, and he almost died to that.
That was so close. If that cask managed to connect before the Rage came out,
yes,
that would have been a kill.
So obviously Mineski have their work cut out for them. They're down 6 to 7K net worth at this point. We talked about they cannot kill this Gyrocopter, and especially if they get the next stages, they will certainly not be able to kill him. And I would imagine if you're TNC, the next move is to keep these waves pushed out and try to go for a smoke, Brax. What do you think? Try to find a kill and get into Roche?
Yeah, they definitely want to be able to control these waves. They have everything they need in terms of team fight. You know, they are dominant on the map. They just need to get these waves out and then be able to take control of the enemy's jungle and just assert their dominance that way.
Yes. And I wouldn't be surprised if they try to find a kill with this Vendetta, if they sit behind this Nyx Assassin.
They see Mushi farming, but
yeah, that's not an easy hero. I mean, they could do it if they had a smoke, if they had some way of initiating. I'm curious if this Tide actually is picked up a Blink now. He's went Medallion, Solar Crest, or excuse me, Guardian Greaves instead, so he might get the Blink later like we saw 3-3 do in the last game. I don't think he really needs it, to be honest.
No, I don't think so either. He can play just like he did earlier, where he just wants to sit in the front lines because he's going to take so much AoE damage from all these random spells that the Silence isn't going to do anything, these stuns won't do anything.
Yeah.
It's just about surviving the Disruptor combo.
The Static Storm is going to be a pretty big ability for Mineski, but I don't think they're going to be able to get it off in time in terms of taking this Roche fight. I don't know if they have any idea that it's happening. And if they do, they can't get there in time. Roche is going to fall, and it will go to the Gyrocopter more than likely. The Age is picked up. But there is now a Nullifier on Mushi. I didn't know he was building that item, but that is pretty big in terms of items that he can get to help him out.
Okay, yeah.
That's going to be big, stopping the BKB of the Gyrocopter or what have you. I mean, Nullifier is going to help out a lot, even just the slow. It's going to be pretty big.
Yeah, it's very nice. It's interesting to see which carry heroes can actually comfortably build this item. The stats on it are pretty wonky.
They're weird.
You have damage and you have armor on a very expensive item, right?
Yeah.
Not the most desired stats, but the effect is very powerful.
The effect is super powerful, but you're right. The item just feels awkward to build.
It does. On a lot of heroes it does, for sure.
You buy a Relic and you're thinking, well, I could get a Radiance instead, but you know.
You know, Lifestealer may be one of the less awkward heroes.
Yeah, it makes sense to build on him, I think.
He has survivability through the Rage, so you don't really need to build BKB. He can afford to go for it in specific games. He can actually build a lot of items.
Yeah, he has a very wide item pool for sure. And we've seen that recently too. Battle Fury has been picked up on him. Yep. I mean, pretty much any item.
This Aegis opens up a whole new world of problems, though, for Mineski, right?
Yeah.
Gyro already unkillable with the Aegis, and now the Eye of Scotty complete. He can position so far forward in these fights that he can just scatter everything out.
There's the Greaves, and they actually can bring down this Witch Doctor, but that was a Witch Doctor, though.
Well, they got him.
I mean, it looked a little difficult with the Greaves coming out, but yeah. If Tim's is there with a 4-step, maybe he survives, but of course Tim's was back across the river on his side of the map, so nothing you could do. By the way, we haven't talked about this as much, but Ice has had his Midas picked up for a while now, and an Ogre Club built, which I assume is building into a BKB as he's getting closer and closer to that item. So something to consider for Ice. He's getting back into the game, and so too is this Death Prophet now. Still pretty far behind that of Armel, but he's building into that BKB as well. These next couple of items from Mineski might be able to get them back into this game.
Yeah, BKB a huge item against TNC's lineup. When you look at that lineup, it's pretty much all spells, even Gyro. A lot of his damage comes through those abilities.
So now they just need to wait out the Aegis, which is easier said than done.
Right, because TNC are just going to run down these lanes now and start pressuring these towers, looking for all the fights.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they can survive that and make it to those BKBs, it'll look much better.
They're doing a pretty good job of split pushing. Ice in the top lane. The Infest coming out. They're trying to find this kill on Armel. He is nullified and silenced up the Static Storm. They'll bring him down. That's a big kill. He's dead for 72, but now he is in there. That gyrocopter from Raven is absolutely destroying. It's a godlike spree. He's about to find Mushi, and now there's no life stealer for 68 seconds. Yes, you got the puck, but they didn't have the DP ulti. They didn't have Ice coming in. They need to back up now, but Tim's is looking for a vendetta. The blink coming in, the skewer will miss. The silence does hit, but it doesn't really matter. There's going to be the skewer piss coming in as well as the impale. That's a triple kill for Raven, and they are looking for more. Yules is available for Moon, and he will use it onto the next assassin, but on the chase is Raven. He will spot him here in a moment. He's got the homing missile at the ready in just a few moments, but he doesn't really need it. He's got the Scotty. The Spirit Siphon will come out. It's not going to matter. There's the impale. That is a dead Death Prophet, and just like that, another kill for Raven, who is absolutely massive.
Well, at least Mineski made the best of a bad situation.
Oh my god, Tim's has found jabs too. Mana Burn to come in. He has Blink in one. He's going to try to juke. The Impale hits at the perfect time. He's going to keep the auto attacks on. They have another hero TPing in. I believe it's the Tidehunter. They now have a Eul Scepter from Tim's coming out. The Impale should be back up in a few moments. But Jabs is still trying to run. He's got no mana for Burrow Strike, surprisingly enough. Now the Gush will come in and another Mana Burn comes in. There's the Impale. They will find yet another kill for TNC.
Yep. I was going to say they made the best of a bad situation because Jabs pushed out the bottom lane so that TNC couldn't go for the tower. They went for the chase instead, but he goes down anyways. Very unfortunate.
TNC looking very good in their first game of the Swiss format, trying to go up 1-0, position themselves to be up there along with the rest of them. And they're looking pretty good. They now have a Lincoln Sphere being built for the puck, so all they need to do is just get these last outer towers.
Yep, with that Lincoln Sphere, you can't get Blink Sand King stunned, so there's pretty much nothing that can start the fight on him, at least reliably. You can always Blink RP, but it's got a longer cast time, so you can potentially dodge that out. Yeah, this game looks rough for Mineski. Extremely rough. Like, Mushi is farmed, but I don't think Lifestealer can solo carry this game, even if he had like another full item.
I mean, we saw it in that last fight. He got as much done as he could with the Nullifier, and they had the Static Storm on Armel, but, well, now they're going to find Nana instead, and he is in trouble. The Eul Scepter will come out, but Raven has that Scotty Slow. They've got the Impale to work with as well, and that is just a dead DP. For 57 seconds, she is down, so that means this will turn into a Tier 2 tower for TNC.
Yep, and TNC, what can stop them?
It doesn't look like much, man. I'm going to be honest with you. Even if they didn't have this Aegis, I don't think it really matters.
I mean, look at this Tidehunter as well. He's got 25 armor with Evasion and Guardian Greaves, 2,000 HP.
He is a tanky man.
He is. Tanky watermelon.
He can just walk up. I like that. This is what we were talking about. This is the play that they have to make. They have to split push. Mushi's doing a pretty good job of it, but he might need to come home. He's going to stay there for now, and actually it looks like TNC are going to head home, but Sam H.
This is very good for Mineski.
He's going to get caught. Static Storm comes in. They already used the Burrow Strike. They have Ice nearby. Sam H will pop the Greaves. Again, he's very tanky, especially with the Anchor Smash getting thrown out. They should be able to stop him and get this kill, though. They have Blink ready in a couple of seconds. The Epicenter's going to go. The Burrow Strike, that should do enough. Ravage is committed.
Oh, no.
I'm surprised he did that. That's down for a pretty significant amount of time now, and that's just more time given to Mineski to try to get back into this game.
Yeah, 2.5 minutes for Mineski to actually make something happen or take time to farm up now. No Ravage online. That's a big deal. Because it's going to sync up with the Aegis timing as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's pretty significant for Mineski to get that kill. But it's still, they've got a long way to go. I mean, again, Mushi, he's building into an AC, which will help. They have now a BKB on Ice. They also should have one coming in pretty soon for Nana if they don't already, onto the Death Prophet. So, yeah, he's like... about 1,000 gold away at this point. But
yep, so close. But it makes a big difference, right? A lot of the damage from TNC is still magic-based. Only Gyro deals physical damage at this point.
That's going to be... We'll see if they can't find somebody. Tim's is vendetta. They might find him. They need detection. They're going to find it with a Blink Burrow. That is a dead Tim's. Nice little pickup there. They'll move on trying to find Cuckoo, but he's already made himself scarce as he's used the Glimmer Cape, and they'll get himself out of trouble.
Yep, let's see what they can translate this into. They know Ravage is still down for quite some time.
The wave is pushing in mid. They can maybe get this tier 2. They do have exorcism if they want to use it. I'm sure they would like to hold on to it for a potential fight. I don't think they even need it, actually. They don't have Ravage to fight into.
Yep. So that Ravage is basically going to cost them time where, Death Prophet has a full BKB now. Right, that's basically what it bought them.
Yes.
And let's see if that's actually going to be enough for them to win some fights, because Lifestealer has Magic Immunity, which helps them navigate these fights really easily, but now there's a Glimmer Cape on someone I just saw. Not sure. I think Witch Doctor.
Witch Doctor, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that makes things a bit messier for these team fights, but you know, Magic Immunity helps a lot, especially in a hero like Death Prophet, who is based off of staying alive, right? She needs to run around in these team fights. And she's almost level 18 as well, so that helps.
Yeah, the level 3 Exorcism is a lot of the damage that they're missing out on.
Yep. Lifestealer is super farm, but like we said, he just can't really solo carry these fights, right? You need the damage from Death Prophet. She needs to be able to stay alive in these fights.
This could be the timing that they were looking for. It's the BKB you were talking about. It's the level 18 on the Exorcism, which is now up and ready to go. This is a huge fight, and with that kill on the Tidehunter, they, I think, kind of swung the gold back at least 2 to 3K in that time span. Yeah. That's significant. One more fight with a big win for them in that fight for Mineski probably swings it back even more towards that, 1K mark. And we'll see if they can't get there. But again, killing this Gyrocopter feels like kind of an impossibility with BKB. Now a Lincoln Sphere along with that and the Scotty to work with as well. He is sitting at 3.1K HP. He has 24 armor without anything else buffing it up. And it is that's the target that you can't focus on potentially. I mean, you can, but you probably want to go for other heroes.
The Lincoln Sphere makes it impossible, well, near impossible, to actually start a team fight on this hero without him getting it off, right?
Yeah.
He's going to be able to press his BKB every time. But yeah, good luck killing him. He's tough.
They did a good job of killing Armel and CMH, although CMH takes forever to kill. Meanwhile, they have found Nana, but there's the Blink Burrow, the counter initiation coming in, but the Gyro is there. The call down, he pops the BKB. He's already doing a lot of damage.
Nana's
They've got the
no
Nullifier
mana
on Armel, but he's fine. Mushi is going to get run down now. Nana is already teeping away. Mushi is in trouble. They've got the Dream Coil. They've got Mushi dead, down for 75.
Stopped him from getting in range to infest Nana teeping out.
And they will find the Dagon for Armel getting himself a double kill. That'll be Jabs getting dropped down as well. That is big, and they will push into the high ground now. The Tier 3 is about to be under siege, and they have no buyback on Mushi. They have Exorcism, they have the Ice, they have the RP, but I don't think that's going to be enough here in this game. The Tier 3 at the very least will fall. Maybe they get more out of this, and probably they do. Sam H is walking up. He still has Ravage available, so this is more than likely going to be a full set of racks. They will glyph, but
maybe even more, honestly. 40 seconds, no Lifestealer?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they can do anything here. They have to try for something if they don't want to lose 2 sets of racks, but they just might, at the very least.
Yep, it looks like 2 sets unless Mineski attempt to make some sort of play, but there's no damage.
They can always back up to Roche for TNC too if they don't want to get too aggressive.
Yeah. I hope we get to see that last fight again, because Tim's got the mana burn off on Nana before the fight started. And he actually had no mana to use Exorcism right before they went into it. It was just...
That is rough.
It was extremely rough.
The Nyx has played really well this game for Tim's.
Yeah.
But Raven, of course, he's on another level now. The Gush comes out, Sam H is in. They've got the BKBs popped down. They popped the Exorcism, but Raven has also popped his BKB, and he's man-fighting. Static Storm, they found Sam H. He has already used the Greed, and the Static Storm will silence him up anyways, so he's dead for 75. They did Exorcism for that, though, and I guess they did hold their racks, but they still only got 1 kill on the Tidehunter.
Yeah, Exorcism, but you're right. They saved the racks, but of course now there's going to be this problem where TNC march into the Roshan pit, and there's no Exorcism to fight, and Ravage is still online, of course.
They have everything going for them at this point.
That's the big problem with these large cooldown ultimates. You can just, once you use them, it's super easy to just move on to the next objective without being contested at all.
Yeah, that's where Gyrocopter's so good. He doesn't have to rely on those large cooldowns other than BKB at this point.
Yep, his cooldown is the flat cannon.
That's pretty much it, and it's not that long, let me tell you. You hit that flat cannon button, and you just start doing some serious damage with what items that Gyrocopter has. He actually doesn't even have a Butterfly. He's building it in 1 now. I'm surprised he doesn't already have it, but he built a really good item build.
Yeah.
He's just so tanky. And
very heavy on the survivability, but that's exactly what they need to team fight.
They've got plenty of other damage sources as well, from Armel to the Death Ward.
Mm-hmm.
So, speaking of Armel, I think he's up to Dagon 2 now, which is good news for him. He's doing a lot of damage at the very least. He has Veil along with it. He is pretty up there in terms of his item slots. He's like 6 slotted at this point. So,
He's played very well this game.
And this is the fight you were talking about. The Impale, the mana burn, there it is. He couldn't get the BKB off in time. It was a good counter initiation with the Burrow Strike, but they just didn't have the mana for the exorcism. And you could see it there. You were absolutely right about that.
I mean, look at Mushi just chasing around. He can't get on anyone in these fights at all. Four staffs come out. Scotty slows him. Couldn't even get back to his teammate to infest before the TP came out.
Man, that Nyx play, though. Tim's has done a great job this game, for sure. He's just been crushing it. We are still waiting on that big RP from Ice Ice Ice. We're still waiting on that big team fight from Mineski, but it's sort of slipping away at this point. They will smoke up. They'll try to find something here. They'll find instead a Witch Doctor, not the hero they wanted. He's going to get forced, but he will still get nullified up and drop down. And actually, Tim's is able to blink away just in time as Javs is about to auto-attack him. In the meantime, Armel is split pushing and working on this tier 3 tower, and nobody is back. But they have killed the Witch Doctor, and Roshan is up, but Javs is forced to him.
Yep, forced back. Tower takes half its health and damage. No answer to the puck split push at all, and he has Lincoln Sphere too.
Man, this
we might go this whole game without seeing that huge critical RP just because it's really difficult to play Mag when there's like a big tanky frontline hero like the Gyrocopter that you can't RP anyways, but he always sits between you and the targets that you want to RP. And then you have Puck, who plays off on a side, who doesn't need to come in from the same angle as everyone else, that Nyx Assassin, who's also doing the exact same thing Invis. They'll have no reason to group up, you know?
Yeah.
Gyro can just sit on his own somewhere, and these heroes can come in from the side.
Oh, Tim's. You gotta relax, man. You're just owning too hard, please.
He's living life on the edge.
Yeah. He's actually doing so well. There's a lot of good vision out on the field for the Dire team. They've got some good wards at the very least, but mostly sentries, to be honest, at this point in the game. So they're trying to get as much map control as they can with the limited amount of space they've got. But here we go. It looks like there's a smoke coming here from the Radiant team. They're trying to find something. TNC looking for a target. It's going to be the Disruptor. Blink and Pale, good Burrow Strike to counter initiation. But there's the Blink Ravage. They get off the RP and the BKB in time, but again, Raven is there, and he's just hitting everybody. They've got to run for now the Death Ward. They blow up the Death Prophet as her Exorcism comes out, so that's down, and so is she for another 74 seconds. Now the Magnus is going to get dropped down. A double kill for Tim's. That might be enough for TNC just to take the racks and maybe even the game here, Brax.
Yeah, that was convincing. Not even close. RP on 3 heroes, doesn't even matter. There's no damage to follow up at all. Just everyone dies to the flat cannon damage.
And the RP, as good as it was that he got it off before, he got the BKB and the RP off as the Ravage came out, but it didn't matter. They just didn't have the damage. They popped the Exorcism. The DP dies almost instantly. And TNC, they're backstroking their way to a Game 1 victory here against Mineski. Potentially, they're going to get Mega Creeps at the very least, but they are looking strong here for the Swiss format to move up to that 1-0 slot, along with the other teams that have already gotten there this morning.
Yep, I really like the Tidehunter against the Magnus. We saw in that team fight on the bottom lane, even if you get clipped by the RP or all the other AoE stunts, it doesn't really matter. You're always going to get that Ravage off to counter-initiate the RP, so...
And you know what it comes down to is the puck also. You think that puck, okay, you see that and you're like, this looks good in the offlane. You were even talking about it during the draft. But the fact that they're flexible enough to put the puck mid for Armel, and then they have the Nyx there to just make Moon's life miserable.
It destroyed that lane.
It was a really good draft from TNC when you think about all of those factors together.
Yep, and then you look at the supporting staff as well. There's nothing they can do to offset that advantage in the mid lane, you know? Even if Sand King comes in, what can he really do?
Yeah.
Right? The DP is still sitting with no mana. Doesn't even matter.
Nah, that has been the issue. The Exorcism not able to get off a lot of the time for Mineski. That big ability's just not really been impactful. In fact, all their big abilities, RP, Epicenters, even the FS ganks have been limited. And this will lead TNC into another Roshan, which I don't think can be contested. Again, DP ulti still down, and plenty of damage to take this quickly. In fact, DP ulti's down for 25, so this Rosh should be easy. Aegis and Cheese. Aegis more than likely, I don't even know if they have space for Raven to take it. He's going to get a slot, though. He's going to put his boots away, and he's going to grab the Aegis. He just knows that he doesn't want to die, and he shouldn't die this game at the very least. He's sitting at 15-0-9, looking to end the game deathless. We'll see if that's going to happen.
Yep, having a fantastic game. And his item build this game was extremely smart, going for the Eye of Scotty instead of the Butterfly we normally see. Terrific against the Lifestealer.
So, where do you think this draft went wrong then for Mineski? Well, actually, we might see Mushi get caught, but... yeah, it looks to be in trouble.
Pretty dead.
That's silence. Ooh. Nice and fast. Keeps him alive.
He's looking alive.
And these are mega creeps, super creeps too, so mega creeps, they'll be fine. They'll just be able to make it. They'll get there eventually.
Yeah, these guys are tough. They're not going down to these wimpy guys.
Mushi's got a long trip home, man, let me tell you. Yeah. Oh my god. Actually, he infests out pretty quickly and he's going to go rage TP. I thought he might have stayed in there longer. That would have been pretty funny if he just stayed in the creeps all the way through.
It's not about the sightseeing mod. He wants to get back to base ready to fight.
Anyways, I go back to my original question and asking where did this go wrong for Mineski in the draft?
Well, they just had such a big problem with the mid lane, right? They had no real way to deal with the puck versus the DP with the Nyx Assassin coming in. I feel like if they had something else to play off of, then Nyx Assassin wouldn't feel so content just sitting in the mid lane. But both offlaners were so static that there was actually nothing else for them to do in the entire game, right? And that's one of the problems with these greedy offlaners like the Magnus. It's just they don't actually do anything.
No.
Even with an advantage, they can't actually pressure lane. I mean, look at this. Raven has not a care in the world. They can't do anything.
Good Ravage counter initiation. They still have the Aegis even with this. They're going to RP. This is actually looking pretty good. They're going to take another hero down. It's Armel. The Epicenter gets used. They are going to use their BKBs. They will get channeled. Raven will pop his own. And now Ice 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 is on the run. You killed him once. I don't know if you can kill him twice. The Exorcism is actually doing a lot of damage. The Throne's starting to get up by these creeps, though. There's no tier 4s available. Impale onto 2 from Tim's, and now they will find a great Death Ward, which will bring down the DP. She's forced to buy back, but with no Exorcism, it is rough. Meanwhile, Mushi is chasing him down. He's getting low. Raven, this would be a huge kill, but he pops the cheese. Oh. He pops the cheese. It turns on to Mushi, who gets taken down. Zapped by Armel. He's dead, and now they're looking for more. Pushing them back into the well, trying to finish this game off, and it should end right now as GG is called. And TNC with a pretty big upset against Mineski here with our 5th game of the day now done.
Yep, Nullifier doing work there in the last fight, but just not enough.
No. They needed that kind of fight like maybe 30 minutes earlier. Well, maybe not that long, but you know what I mean.
30 minutes is probably pretty accurate.
Yeah.
That was a rough one.
It was a pretty rough. It was a long game. You had all the pauses into it as well, and it just felt like that game was going south pretty much from the get-go. And
yep.
you got to give TNC credit. They looked super good in that game.
Yeah, they looked fantastic. They all played very well. But who would you like to give your MVP vote to?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's going to be Raven.
It's so hard not to give it to
I mean, like, you can
Raven.
argue you gave him safe lane free farm, and that's all you really need to get somebody like a Gyrocopter into that position.
Oh,
Sam H would have been another. This was the fight, by the way, if you missed this. This was the fight where Sam H was able to get the Kraken chill off when he get RP'd soloed. They turn it into a big 3-man Ravage, and they win the fight, and Raven gets a ton of farm here.
Yep,
and this was a 5-for-1.
And they just waited around the corner, expecting it.
It was just great positioning from TNC. And then every fight from that point on was kind of downhill. They would get a kill here or there onto Armel, but Raven was just so impossible to deal with. The BKB item timing, the SNY. His items in general were great. Good itemization coming in from Raven this game.
It was the Raven show.
It really was.
Every team fight.
I gotta say, though, you talked about it's hard to not like give it to Sam H or Tim's. I mean, the whole team played well around Raven to make it so he had the space that he had and he had the game that he had.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. He had a fantastic game, right? But then you look at the plays Tim's made this game, fantastic throughout the entire game.
Yes.
And it's just difficult. They all played so well.
Yeah. So a lot of these situations, Exorcism was either not available, it was mana burned away, or he gets it off and then he dies instantly. A rough game for Moon for sure. I mean, pretty much since the beginning of the laning phase where they send the Nyx Assassin there and they just mana burn him.
Yep. Very difficult to come back in a situation like that where your offlaner has no pressure, so it's pretty much a dead part of the map you can't play off of.
Yeah.
Right? And then in the mid lane, you're getting dumpstered by this Nyx mana burning you over and over. And there's really nothing you can do about it.
That's a pretty good word for it. That's what it felt like for Moon. For Nana, a rough game for sure. And TNC with a pretty surprising win, Brax. This is a team, they've kind of struggled over the past few weeks in the SEA region against both Fnatic and Mineski. They've lost a lot of qualifiers.
That's a tough region.
It is a very tough region. You have not just these 3 teams, TNC, Mineski, Fnatic, but you also have other teams like Execration, Clutch Gamers. There's a lot to play up against. It's one of the tougher regions, a lot like China, in the terms that it's hard to get out of. And TNC, they've done a good job of making it through to this particular tournament, and they've done an even better job with their first game of the entire tournament here in the Swiss format. They've absolutely crushed it, and you can see it here. 40%, 47% gold difference, 24% XP difference. They had plenty of hero kills, and the Gyrocopter was the story of the game, obviously.
Yep, Gyro pretty darn strong.
So that
So
leaves
what?
our MVP. And guess who it is, Brax?
Who is it?
It's Raven.
Wow.
I know.
Well, I couldn't tell if that was Sam H or not because when they in the very beginning they had the same picture.
It's tough.
That's Raven though.
That's Raven.
Yep.
He's got he's got the pointers. Pew pew. Raven's having a good time.
This man's on fire.
He really is. Much like PyCat in the last game, 2 Gyrocopter MVPs in a row. I wonder if that'll signal anything, Brax.
Oh, maybe Gyrocopter's a pretty good hero.
Yeah, you might want to take him out of the game, guys.
Raven's looked really good for a long time now.
Yes, I would say so. I think, that he's really coming into his own for TNC. I think he's done a lot of work. Armel had a pretty good game, too. We don't want to leave him out. Of course,
he had a very good game.
New player for TNC. He did absolutely fantastic, so.
Really young team, too. They're all 18, 19, 20.
They have a bright future ahead of them for sure. And we'll see how they do in this particular tournament as they move on further. But for now, we will take a break. We'll get into our next game as soon as it's ready. But stick around, guys. We'll be right back.